It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Today's guest, the Mayor of Oxford and the Chief of Police. Come back. We've got some things to talk about. Be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins. And today's guest is Mayor of Oxford, Alton Krauth, and the Chief of Police of the City of Oxford. And we've got a lot of things to talk to you about. Welcome to the show, the Governor. Welcome to the show, Chief. And President. I'll get you all messed up.
That's fine.
That's all right. Alton is the Mayor of Oxford, and Bill Partridge is the Chief of Police. And Bill has been on here several times. You've been on here a couple of times, one time before. Yeah. So, but we don't have to tell everybody who you are out there because they know you. What's going on in Oxford? Anything?
Oh yeah, we got plenty going. We got we just bought the Sears building. We're looking to renovate, do a renovation at the mall. Right now we've got a dinosaur exhibit there that we're running through the end of the month.
Now,
hold on.
I
January.
saw that about the dinosaur, but what are you going to do with the Sears?
Well, we haven't decided yet.
Okay.
The council and I are working on several projects, see what we can do with it. Hopefully turn it into something that's either retail or possibly a convention center or something like that for the area.
Well, I picked up the paper this morning, and in the headlines, Georgia company buys a Quintard Mall. That's where the Sears is located. That's got to be a big thing.
Oh yeah. The we've met with them a couple times. It's called Whole Properties. Seem to be very good people. I think they'll close. I don't know if they actually closed on it yesterday or not, but they're supposed to be.
They did, yeah.
And so we'll be working with them. There's actually several players in the mall. That's one of the reasons why we got in it was you got Dillard's on their space, Sears on their space, and then the mall on the rest of it. Yeah. And then so
Now that the mall, for the folks that's watching out here, a lot of talk about that. Did they say anything to you about what their plans are to after they take over the mall? I mean, now that they bought it, any plans to put some new stores in?
Oh yeah, they'll be there'll come a period of time where they'll have to be doing some renovations interior wise, and probably I'd say my understanding, anywhere from 12 to 24 months, you'll see probably some maybe partially downsizing, but then going back out and bringing in the stores while they get it revved back up.
That was a big thing at Christmas time. See, people could go inside there and do all their shopping.
Yeah.
Inside, out of the weather. That's nothing to take away from the exchange because I live out there and you ain't hurting for customers out there. No. Trust me on that. I just come through there.
Yeah.
So, Bill, let me ask you this first because I got some questions about it. The light that you put up down there coming out of Home Depot on the Leon Smith Parkway, when will that be activated? Do you know?
Probably going to be flashing within the next week. And then it'll flash for a week, and then it'll go into regular mode as a traffic signal after that.
Okay, because I'm going to tell you, coming out from the Gridiron or coming out from Home Depot, you take your life in your hand, especially if you're going to go on over to Publix and
that red light will actually help the flow of traffic on Leon Smith Parkway because it'll be synced with the other lights and hopefully get that flow going a little better.
That's what I want them to hear because that's going to have to stop there and then be backed up on the bridge. But no, you're going to be in sync with the other lights.
That's correct. Everything will be synced up, and hopefully that'll make traffic flow a little smoother during the holiday season.
That's great. And then at some point, that road, the Leon Smith Parkway, will be widened. Mm-hmm. The bridges will be widened and have a turn lane over there for Choccolocco Park.
Yeah. They're currently right now doing the geographic study and the topo kind of thing that tells us what kind of dirt's there and things like that, and what we'll have to use to widen those bridges.
Right. That people don't know what topo is. They think
I
that's a cartoon character. That's to determine what kind of dirt there is and we'll compact. Yeah. That's what they talk about. And I said Choccolocco Park. How's that doing out there?
Hey, we finished our first year. Had some very excellent events. We had the Dixie Youth World Series. We had several of the OVC. I think the OVC Championship in baseball. And in softball, we ran some track meets out there, and look forward to next year to doing even more stuff. And
I saw a lot of buses from out of town. I saw a lot of people from out of town. There was people in the shopping center and Exchange and other places that had out of state tags on that had come with their ball team,
Right.
and they were shopping and spending the money. You don't mind them doing that, do you?
No, we love it. We love it. Like them staying here too. I know the hotels do too.
Absolutely. That was I live in that area, so I got to see it at firsthand. They also you skipped over real fast. Y'all broke ground for the downtown.
Right.
The what do you call it? Main Street.
It's the Main Street project. It's actually renovation of downtown. They'll be doing. We'll be changing some of the traffic there, and then at the same time, doing the sidewalks, making them ADA compliant, and then decorating changing the landscape of the front, what we call the T.
Yeah.
Which is really the Main Street down to the Performing Arts. And then we'll eventually do the sidewalks all the way, I think, through the Presbyterian Church, all the way back to the city limits, and then all the way back to right there to almost 78. Good friend of ours, Aaron Sexton. Aaron worked on those grants, and I think he's got us two $400,000 grants to do that. So.
Well, you say ADA fast enough and people don't pay that much attention, but the sidewalks for those that are not have problems, they don't pay that much attention to it. But the tripping hazards and the access on and off, they are uneven.
Right.
Where the power poles go, you take your life in your hands if you pull your car up there and step out and you think you're going to step up, and you come out of a restaurant or something and you step and you find that the concrete's up here and you thought it's over here. It's not just ugly, but those power poles are the ugliest sight I've ever seen. I mean, but they had to have power, and but they just so many wires that they just ugly up the whole city. I can't hardly wait to see that. I think that's one of the greatest things, whether it brings in a nickel.
Yeah,
but
and I'll tell you, Ken, some of the design. Well, this was done in the 50s and the 60s. We've recently one of our neighborhoods, the main ditch that carries the water through it was falling in. Well, the way the developer did it back in the 50s or 60s, they actually took 55-gallon drums and put them side by side to carry the water. They didn't even have pipes. So.
You got ahead of me. I was going to say, wait till y'all start digging in there and see what you find, because in Boston, they showed us up there. I was up at Harvard, and they were showing us the drains downtown Boston were made of wood. They made wooden circles, and they're still like that to this day. And they're deteriorating, and some of the water actually goes in the drain. Yeah. So that's going to be a challenge for you too, Chief, right? When you're going to redirect traffic around there and stuff.
It won't really be that bad. We're going to have officers that are working hand in hand with the construction crews to make sure we keep traffic flowing through there, especially when we have performances at the Performing Arts Center. Yeah. Other events downtown between now and the time it's completed.
I hadn't thought about that, but that's you get quite a bit of traffic in there for that. And while you're talking about that, the parking for that place, what are you doing with I saw something where you're over with the church, you're marrying up with what's going on there?
Well, the churches are allowing us to use their lots for the Performing Arts Center. It's just a collaborative effort between the city and the churches.
But the access going to still go from Chocolate?
The access will come in off of Whiteside.
Up there, it's on the north side. Okay. So that will ease up traffic in itself there.
It will.
That's great. All right. Well, we're gonna go to a break here. I want to come back. We're going to talk about the late Leon Smith when we come back, and what we're going to be doing in his honor. So we're going to go to a break. You're going to come back here and talk about some things that you important, especially you that love the city of Oxford. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. We're talking with the mayor of Oxford and the chief of police, Bill Partridge. And when we left, I said we'd come back. We're going to talk about, if I can get the control room a heads up, we're going to bring up right now. I'd like to bring up the, let's hold on that in the control room. Mayor Smith was the mayor how long, Alton?
32 years.
32 years. And he passed away less than a month ago or something like that, about a month ago. And a committee was formed. One of y'all go into that, tell what's it going to do about the committee and how we're going to do to honor him and all that stuff.
Well, I'll let the chief go since he's the chairman.
Well,
there you go.
We brought a committee together that we wanted to honor the late Mayor Smith for his service to the city and the community and everything that he's done to make Oxford what it is today. And the committee has come up with plans to place a statue in front of City Hall and one also at Liberty Park out at the Civic Center to honor his service to his community so future generations will know who he was.
And we're going to put a plaque, bronze plaque, inside the Oxford
Performing Arts Center.
That was the old city hall, and that's where
right.
a lot of us
That's right.
we relate more to Leon Smith there than we did at
That's
the new
right.
place. But this, if we get the control room, bring up, show the people what we're talking about, a statue at the, there it is right there. That's a statue of the mayor. It's got some information on it. Bill, if you want to address that, it tells about who the statue is and something about him. I don't remember what all's on there.
It's going to give a short biography of who the mayor was and the contributions he made to the city in his honor. And I think it's a wonderful tribute to a man who did so much for our community.
And so when somebody comes up to that 50 years from now, they can know what the statue is and why there's a statue there.
Yeah, right.
And I can't think there's anybody out there that I wish I'd have got the address, but I'll just tell the folks to my information's on the screen here. If you would like to help with this, you can call the City Hall. What's that number down there? 256
831 7510.
7510 831-7510 and ask for Mayor Kraft and tell them you want to help in building this, because it's going to take some funds to do that, and we'll have a fundraising thing set up. And I apologize for not having that address. We do it through the Community Foundation, and the one thing I want people to understand is this is a 501c3 and it can be deducted from their taxes. So we're going to need some funds to do this. But and the reason I'm sitting here is I doubt if there's very few people in the city of Oxford that wouldn't get mad at us if we didn't give them a chance to do that. I mean, we can get the funds if we just turned over a rock, but we still got to hit as many people in Oxford love this man that I think they'd love to be a part of building this. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, many of them probably still think he's the mayor. I had one that came up to me one day, and I said, "If you'll come by my office, I'll help you out." And we was in a council meeting, and he looked at me and he said, "You are, sir," and because Mayor Smith was so relevant to Oxford's growth, what he did for the city, how he maintained it. And yes, used to, Bill and I would help the mayor campaign. We'd go out in the communities, and especially as Mayor Smith got older, we would maybe knocking on somebody's door, Mayor Smith sitting at his truck, and they'd bring him out some tea, and then the whole neighborhood came to Mayor Smith, and they talked, and he loved Oxford. He loved the citizens. This is where he wanted to be, and this is where he wanted to pass away, and he did.
I'll tell you this, I was running for city council one time, and I was out there by the Coke plant, that area back in there, and I was at the door talking to a gentleman about trying to convince him to vote for me, and Leon pulled up out front. And he just walked away from me, left me, went on out to talk to Leon. What's wrong with this picture, man?
I want to interrupt you one second.
Okay, go ahead, sure.
As we move away from the statue for Mayor Smith,
All right.
me and the mayor here today wanted to congratulate you and thank you for the job that you've done over the last decade or two in assisting law enforcement. You were one of the major spearheaded individuals who got the law enforcement memorial going up at the park. You headed those up, and we wanted to present you today with a token of our appreciation from the police department and a Citizens Appreciation Award to Mr. Ken Rollins in 2017 for the work that you've done for law enforcement and for the community and for our veterans. And I just wanted to tell you thank you for everything that you've done.
Thank you so
And
much.
I know
Thank
you weren't
Larry.
expecting that today.
No, I don't.
We were
I
going to
don't-
spring that on you here today.
I don't take things too well. Now you done messed me all up. I tell the control room up there to go easy on me because they messed me up out here.
But thank you.
Thank you so
thank
much,
you,
man. That is they got near and dear to my heart, man. The law enforcement is a group of people that walk up to these cars, these tinted windows in the middle of the night, don't know what's on the other side of them, and that's awesome, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ken.
And I was at I was talking about how can folks contribute, and I want to make sure I get that out there. That call me on my number or call the mayor. I ain't gonna give Bill's cell phone; he stays dang busy. But we will have that in the weeks to come, where people can contribute, because it's not that we got to have that money from them, but as we talked about during the meeting, there's so many people that loved him that would, well, man, where can I send? They just love it, man, so much. So, and rightfully so, because I wish people could have heard some of the conversations that we had about him that we can't go in here and talk about. Nothing risque, just
Oh yeah,
this
I'm
is
sure
famous
most of the
television.
people that knew him had some of them conversations with him. So.
and he was funny. He could make you laugh, but he could also get on your skin. Didn't he? But you were talking about when you and him went out to eat, and I said I don't ever remember seeing Leon Smith out eating somewhere. The Alton crowd wasn't there, but you were like an understudy. You were watching him all the time.
Oh yeah, I never chose to be the mayor. I think Mayor Smith, long before I ever thought of it,
Yeah.
he would tell people he wanted me to be the next mayor. And I will tell you, Ken, and Chief Partridge knows this, Mayor Smith talked to the poorest of us individuals to governors and presidents the same way.
Absolutely.
And there was no difference. And I think that the presidents and stuff like that, they always respected him because he was that kind of man.
But we knew how to take him, and some of them didn't. But I want to switch to something that's on a bigger thing. As we sit here today, Bill, the shootings that they have in the churches and things like that, and Alton, if you want to chime in, we got a couple minutes. I want to do the people around here are edgy. They're scared. Not just in Oxford, I'm talking Anniston area, all over the United States. People are taking another evaluation on where's your safe space. If you can't go to church to worship to God, where is it safe, and what should they do out there?
Again, I tell people more and more all the time that now's the time that you probably should be armed.
Yeah.
Good guys with guns stop bad guys with guns. We've had several churches contact us in the last few weeks wanting to know what they could do to step up their security procedures in their church. If we have churches who would like for us to come speak to them, just contact me. We'd be more than happy to have folks come out and speak to them and evaluate their security situation and see what they can do to make it safer.
What about it? They catch like this guy down in Texas. If they caught him in the parking lot on a camera, on a security camera, they might have had some time to react, bolt a door or something, have somebody standing there by the door.
It's all in preparedness. You have to be prepared for the unexpected.
And realize that we're not living in the same world today we was 10, 15 years
Exactly.
ago. Yeah. And we got 40 seconds. I just want to, Alton, I got a question for you that we all know Leon Smith was all about business. Is Oxford still open for business?
Still open for business. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I could tell you some stories that you're not aware of that people come here and why they located in Oxford. And the former mayor would let you know hey, you bring your business out, we'll take care of you.
That's
and
right.
It wasn't about them taxing you to death and all that stuff. Well, we got to go. Bill, I thank you for this award.
you,
I thank
Ken.
y'all for
Thank
taking
you.
time to come here. I know you got to go somewhere.
Always a pleasure, Ken.
And it's hard to get in touch with both of you, so I know you're busy, man. We got to go to a break. Come back. I got news that you can use. Stay right there. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. I appreciate the chief and the mayor coming in and doing the show today. Here's the phone number I want to give you. This is why I want you to get that pen ready. It's a VA hotline. It's 855-948-2311. That's the line that's in the White House. That's for all things veteran. Now, our Veterans Day ceremony is November the 11th at 11 a.m. at Centennial Memorial Park in Anniston. Steve Chappell will be back this year, and the parade starts at 2 p.m. And they want me to tell you about the Grand Marshal, and the Grand Marshal is Command Sergeant Major Helen J. Johnson. She's given 75% of her life to serving her country and fellow veterans. She was out at Fort McClellan. As a matter of fact, she folded the flag that was taken down when the WAC Center was closed out there. So she's the Grand Marshal. Helen's going to be the Grand Marshal for their parade. It starts at 2 o'clock. They're going to line up on 22nd Noble as opposed to where they normally start at 18th. That means they got more floats and entries this year than they've had in the past. The crisis line is this is the one where someone is on the ledge and wanting to harm themselves. That's 1-800-273-8255, and when the voice comes on, press 1. That's in case you know somebody that's needing help, that want to harm themselves, or you know of someone that's like that. And this is a number, a website and a number I want you to write down because it's very important. It's the only organization that I can pick up the phone and call and say, I got a veteran out there, their power is off, they need a ramp built, they're stranded, the car is broke down. The only one that I know of that can do this is called Wounded Warrior Alabama, one word, Wounded Warrior Alabama. @gmail.com. Phone number is 256-458-2715. 256-458-2715. The guy that started that, his name is Ross Winter. He's still over it. Took his money and put it in the pot because he's a veteran himself. He's Special Forces, even though I don't like Special Forces. But Ross Winter's a good man. He's helping a lot of veterans out there, and he goes. People don't know about that, but you do, and I just told you about it. So keep that handy if you know somebody. We're going to have the firefighters memorial finished by the building of the frame and everything is already in place. Hopefully by the first of the year we'll have that in ready for viewing. We still need wheelchairs. If you got somebody that's passed on or whatever that don't need a power chair anymore, I got veterans out there that need them. They use them to ride up and down the sidewalks to visit their neighbors and gossip. They need to go to the mailbox, but they're not eligible for one through the VA or Medicaid or whatever. So if you got one that you no longer use and the batteries are good, give me a call. I'll come pick it up and make sure a veteran gets that. The law enforcement tag that we always talk about on here, it's Bill Partridge, the chief, designed that tag. That's how we built everything that's up there in that park. Revenue from that tag goes to that, and a portion of it goes to Washington to the National Law Enforcement Memorial. But the other part of it is if you driving around, and I see you, a lot of you out there with that tag on your car, and I appreciate seeing them because it says to me that with that shield and that rose on it that you support the fallen officer that died in the line of duty, and that's an awesome statement to put on your tag. And another thing goes to every color car that you can put on out there. And so when you get ready to do your tag again, think about that. And you don't have to be in law enforcement to get one. And so tell your tag office you'd like to see the law enforcement tag. And get your Veterans Choice card, and you can get that. Call the clinic down here and tell them you want a choice card. We got to go to now, and it's time's up. I want to remind you that about the parade again on the 11th and the ceremony, and we'll see you. This salutes for all those that worked on the parade. We'll see you next time.